powerful.
I am powerful.
Breathe.
I don't care where you go. I am strong.
I am strong.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I belong.
I belong.
Didn't I tell you that we don't play with people like you?
They could never understand you. And what they don't understand, they fear. And what they fear, they seek to destroy.
It's a lovely good evening and welcome to Ubuntu's channel Debate Time. I am your host, Lance Sani Banda, and definitely today we kickstart the program differently as we have started a little bit earlier so that we can accommodate you, our dear viewers. This has been a cry for most of you to say that 21 hours sometimes is a little bit too late for you. So we said, hey, why not at least come through and accommodate each and everyone so that you may also have time to be able to participate on the program. My co-host this evening is Chaza. Chaza, good evening and welcome to today's edition of the debate.
Good evening, Lance, and it's good to be here. How's been your day?
The day has been great. How's been yours?
It's been pretty fine, though tiresome,
Definitely. And of course, our viewers, we welcome you to this program. Now, in addition to at least keeping it as it was, with part one, we had the same panelists as we have today so that there is continuity in what we started. And of course, one of the guests on the panel that we have is Daniel Zulu. Daniel, good evening and welcome to today's edition of the debate.
Good evening, Lance, and thank you very much. Good evening to our listeners and viewers out there.
All right, thank you so much. As well as even today, still our Iron Lady, as she is the only woman among the men. Very vibrant. Angellah, good evening.
Good evening, Lance, and good evening to the viewers.
All right, thank you so much. Last but not the least, Comrade Isaac Nsoneka is also part of our panelists this evening. Good evening, Nsoneka, and how are you today?
Good evening, Comrade Lance, and good evening to colleagues on the panel and to the viewers watching us from home.
All right, thank you so much. Now, you, our dear viewer, remember that you will be coming through shortly on the program via the link that we will share with you in the comment section so that you can share with us your view, express a view, a concern, as well as ask a question to what we are discussing this evening, which is a continuation of last week's motion of debate, which is the importance of civic participation in governance by young women and the youths. This is what we are looking at. Now, let me quickly start with this question before we get into the motion. Comrade Angellah, I'll start with you because I saw this in the platform that both you and I are in, where somebody was asking what's the difference between a youth and young women.
Wow, I don't know why you're putting me on a spotlight like this, but anyway, I will try my best. So yeah, I saw that and I tried to respond to the comrade, and that's the same response which I'm going to give to you, of which again I beg to be corrected. Yeah, so the comrade was asking the difference between a youth and a young woman. And I told them that a youth is actually a generally any person who is between the ages of 18 to 35, while a young woman is any female who is in the ages between 18 and 40. So somebody can be 36 and be considered as a young man or a young woman. Somebody can be 38, just two young men or young women, and they are not youth.
Pretty interesting there. Thank you so much, Comrade Angellah. I don't know if any of our two men would also like to come in and have their own understanding of the difference between a young woman and a youth. Do we have anything, Comrade Nsoneka, Comrade Daniel?
Maybe you may also
I think
you may also include a young man, because I think there is becoming, biased to women only. What about a young man?
That's actually what I'm from saying, to say that somebody can be at 36 as a female or male, and they can be considered as a young man or a young woman.
Okay.
So any person who is between those age range, 18 to 40, they are considered as young whatsoever, young woman or young man.
Comrade Nsoneka, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think basically that's the definition of the two, really. Though it's very interesting, as we have seen in our political circles, that youthhood actually starts around 50 or 45 and above. You know, those of us who are who are 40 and below are not considered youth. That youths that are useful. So yeah, I think basically that's the overall definition, as our dear lady comrade has put it.
All right, great. So that also kickstarts our motion for today. Time and again, we have heard the elderly people or old people saying that for a youth, or rather a young woman and a young man, to participate in leadership circles or in governance activities, they at least need to attend a certain qualification, or at least they need to have a certain experience of either governance or leadership. How true is this statement? Must one think of becoming a leader as a youth after attaining some sort of experience, or maybe having an academic qualification? Comrade Daniel, let me start with you. You are on mute.
Hello.
Yes, we can get you now.
Okay, thank you so very much. Thank you for that question. Actually, there was a term that was supposed to be used, something that I borrowed, which is they need to prove themselves. Time and time, we've been taught to say for a youth to be a leader, for a youth to be given a responsibility, they need to attain some level of self-proof. You need to prove yourself that you are worth the role of leadership. Okay, that I agree with to some extent. And when we talk about proving yourself, leadership, in simple context, leadership is about problem solving. They can be your problem, they can be society's problem, they can be general problems. So leadership is about solutions, providing solution. So when you look at our education system, right from the onset, preschool, there's something that you're always being taught, especially in mathematics. You're always taught, solve for this, solve for this. You grow up with that idea of finding solutions to pending problems. The problems at that age come theoretically. They'll give you a scenario, they'll give you a situation, and you need to find a solution to that. We grow up with that mindset saying we are supposed to find solutions to the pending problems that we are presented with. First qualification that we get is that same level of education. And by education, I'm using that term carelessly. I'm not only talking about, being in class and listening to a teacher or a lecture. No, by education, I'm talking about exposing yourself to your surrounding and what that surrounding has to offer in terms of lessons to you as an individual. So you need to attain a certain level of education that exposes you to problem solving. Your first attribute, your first proof to being a leader is that you're supposed to solve a certain problem. Is that what is being asked of us when these elderly say you need to prove yourself? No. What is being asked of us is they need to come to a certain condition. We need to condition ourselves to a certain level that they would accept that this is now enough proof for this person to be a leader. So in a nutshell, do we need to prove ourselves? Yes. Do we need to prove ourselves to standards set by these elderly? That's a big no from me. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for your input there, comrade. Let's get to Comrade Nsoneka, the same motion. Do we need qualification, a certain qualification by the for the youth to start participating in governance issues? And as let me also borrow Daniel's word to say a standard that these people have set. What is, do we need to live by that standard for us to be considered in these leadership positions? Go ahead, Comrade Nsoneka. Comrade Nsoneka, are you there? Okay, we seem to be having connectivity challenges there with Comrade Nsoneka. Comrade Angellah, let me throw it to you, the same motion.
Well, just like always, I like taking people back to history. Then we look at how we've moved up to today. And I remember previously.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, let me continue. Yes. It also touches my heart, just like it does with Comrade Daniel. Whenever I hear most people attaching some certain kind of qualifications, or they would want youths to prove themselves, women to prove themselves, and not any other. That's not true. Even the issue of education, I always say that being educated as a leader is just an advantage. It's just added advantage, because we've seen several leaders rising up while they're not actually even educated, minus even them like attaining an educational qualification and so on. We've seen them. So I don't think that's, not that I don't think, I strongly believe that it's not true that you need to prove yourself. These mindsets, just like I earlier said previously, this is a mindset which the capitalists have inculcated in us. This is what they want us to believe. This is what they want us to see things. Because they thrive in competition, and I earlier said it already. So they would want you to compete even over things which are not supposed to compete over. We've seen people with no qualifications, but just because they have enough muscle, which is resources, and they'll start rushing, like running to have those leadership positions just because they have a strong muscle, and yet they do not have that ability or capacity to lead people. Maybe in a nutshell, just that. But otherwise, it's not true, because even our own history, what qualifications did Kaunda have at the time when he became president? And most of, pardon?
He was a teacher.
Just a teacher. But today, what other things do they tell us as leaders? No, as youths, they'll tell you, at least, no, you cannot just come with your degree here. At least you should do some masters. That's when you can go in parliament and so on. You've seen. We have other leaders who actually did not even know how to speak English. Not even English, but they were able to deliver. They were able to influence people towards the achievement of goals and objectives, which is leadership itself. And it's so disheartening today, and this is what is actually dragging most of the youth and women today, to say they're scared, like, to take up these positions because they feel they do not have qualification enough, but yet they have the ability and capacity to do so. But because we've been taught to compete first education-wise, then we rush. Yes, we would want to get our masters, we want to get our PhDs. Then that's when we start thinking about our own communities and what we can offer to our society. And during that time, while we are still striving with school, we are putting in wrong people who are not delivering, people who are just putting us in more problems and making it so hard for us to have that opportunity to lead at that time which they've told us to lead. So with me, I just see it as just a strategy which is just making women and youth not to have the opportunity or the platform to lead.
Do you think we need basic education? Because you said totally that education is not a requisite, to leadership. Are you saying even basic education is not important? Or if you agree that basic education is important, what level then should be the bare minimum for, leadership positions?
With me, I believe in delivering. If I'm able to communicate minus attaining any level of education, whether basic or not, for as long as I'm able to deliver, I think that's the perfect thing to do. So if a leader is able to communicate the needs of their community, able to bring in resources which the community needs, with me, I give it a mark. And if at all they've attained some basic education whereby they cannot be swindled or anything in order for them to implement their leadership roles, again, that's another added. No wonder I'm saying that education is just an added education, added value. Because even in the olden days, we had leaders. Were they educated? Was there any kind of formal education then? There wasn't. But still, they still continued to lead.
All right.
So, just an advantage.
Okay, pretty interesting. Comrade Daniel, before you come in, let's get to hear Comrade Nsoneka's point of view concerning the issue of a youth must have at least experience and qualifications for them to take part into leadership roles. Comrade Nsoneka, are you for or against this motion?
Thank you very much, Comrade. I think my apologies. My network is a bit of a challenge in these farms in Katua where we live. But I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, I was trying to say just before my I got interrupted with the network on the idea how we want to say
I don't know if it's just me. I'm struggling. I
the
cannot hear him. I don't
qualification
know about the rest of the people here. Lance, are you able to get
for
him?
youth to
I think his
participate
internet challenges are really massive. I can hardly hear him.
Oh yeah.
All right,
in
Comrade Nsoneka, let's see how best we can get you part of the program. Unfortunately, we can't hear you, but however, the program must continue. Now, comrades, I'll start with you, Angellah, on this one.
Lance,
Okay, so as it was put by Comrade Daniel, I'll still come back to this. As it was put by Comrade Daniel to say that for lack of a better word, the old people have put a standard on what they are terming as this is the standard a young person has to attain for them to start thinking of leadership. Now, at what age or at what point should a young person, a young woman, a young man start participating in democratic processes, or probably participating in the issues of governance and taking up leadership roles?
Comrade
I would
Lance,
say
can I
the
jump
moment.
on that?
Daniel, you will come through. Let's have Angellah first.
Well,
Okay.
I would say with me, I'll give an example of myself. I started participating in most civic activities from the time I got my NRC. Because at that time I had proof to each and everyone to show that I'm actually Zambian. I used to participate, yes, before I would participate in most of communal activities and so on. But when it came to bigger public spaces, the time when I got my NRC, I made sure. And I made sure at the rightful time for me to vote, I did my first voting, which is my civic rights, civic duties, and civic participation as well. So the moment as a young person, the moment you have your NRC to prove you that you're indeed Zambian and you have these civic rights and responsibilities, please take it up because no one is going to do it for you. But at the same time, let me get back to the statement which you earlier said, like these old people. They're giving us all these, yes, they are the ones who are actually pushing for people to have certain qualifications in order for them to take up these leadership roles. Why? Because they are trying to buy our time. So that until I get aged, like until I'm aged, that's when I can take up those leadership responsibility. Because now when I'm so fresh, they'll tell me that no, just go and study. There's nothing which you're going to do as an MP. What are you going to tell people? What have you ever done? Like, what are you going to show people that you did this for your community? What monies do you even have? Like, when it's time for campaigns, what are you going to use? Such things. But how are we going to have that experience if we're never given the time to try? So it means that we won't have any experience until when we're old. So I would be saying that I'm actually born and bred in this community. I grew up from there and so on. That's what they want. But by then, because our brains won't be fresh, would end up maintaining the same people, the same old people, and maintaining the same old ways, which won't even progress our country.
Pretty interesting day. Comrade Daniel, you were itching to come in and obviously put through your thought on that one.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Lance. Are you able to get me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so when you ask what age does one need to be in order for them to participate in these civic responsibilities, the first prescription in our constitution says 18. When I attain 18, I'm eligible to participate in any civic activity. And it starts from the bottomless, voting. Funny part is when you are asking me to vote, you never put a litmus paper in front of me to say you need to achieve this and this and this and this in order to be able to vote. Because the first exercise of my democratic right, the first exercise of my power to govern is in the ballot. That's where I first exercise my ability to govern, in the ballot. But when exercising that right, you never ask me to attain a certain level of qualification. So I reach 18 years, I'm able to participate in any civic activity within the confines of the country. Thank you.
All right. Anyway, I'll do a follow-up with you, Daniel. Let's see if we have Comrade Nsoneka back. Comrade Nsoneka, welcome back.
Thank you, Comrade Lance. I hope I'm audible enough now.
Yes, you are.
I had to climb a few mountains and trees just to find better service.
Well, we really appreciate, at least it's a service that you are doing to the nation. Quickly, let's get your view on the first question before we come to where we are now.
Okay, so my simple views on the first question. I was just trying to say that, look, no matter how we look at this, we as young people, or we need a cadre of young people of substance, because the fact that you are a youth, or the fact that myself, Comrade Daniel, and Comrade Angellah here, yourself, Lance, and Comrade Chaza are young people, it's not a direct, indication that we must be leaders. Like I said last week when we had this program, that look, to be a leader of others, to lead people, is no child's play. It's no simple job. You need to gather some amount of substance for yourself to be able to stand out, to be able to appeal to the people as someone that they could follow. You know what I mean? So no matter how we look at it, not necessarily that there should be a clause in the constitution that for anyone to aspire for governance positions and civic positions or political leadership, they must have a degree in this and that. I personally don't even want to entertain such kind of draconic. I think I'm one of the few young people who's been against this grade 12 certificate requirement parliament alike, because I think that to be a leader, really, it's not a question of the academics. Some people, we know quite a number of people who are some of the most decent that, and when you look at the areas they represent of substance, for ourselves, some quality that will make you stand out. Like I had said earlier.
Comrade Nsoneka, are you done?
Yes, Comrade Lance, you.
Okay, great. Now, moving on to the second motion that we are looking at. For lack of a better word, the old people have more like put a bar that
Yes,
they are
yes. I
using.
think I'm done with the first question.
Okay, yeah. The old people have put a bar that they are sort of using to uh, to 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 measure at what level a youth or a young person can participate in civic participation as well as in governance issues. Now, is there supposed to be an age limit where one needs to start participating in governance issues as a young person, or maybe like Chaza had said, youth in Zambia yambira pa 50? Comrade Nsoneka.
Yes, yes, Comrade. Well, you see, Comrade, the most interesting part about that motion and that question that you've posed is that it's a constitutional matter. You know, it's a matter by law that adulthood in Zambia or youthhood starts from 18 and above. You know, the constitution, our laws are what places caveats on certain age groups, you know, from participating in matters of governance and matters of leadership. You know, I think that the problem starts from there. And with regards to that constitution, I think we can't necessarily blame the so-called old people, you know, that we seem to so much want to believe that we must go and ask nicely for us to be able to be included onto the the league of the big boys, you know, as you would call it. But it was a collective, you know. It was a product of collectivity that young people were interviewed about that constitution. They placed their views here and there. Of course, the ones who are in the ranks, and of course the elders, as I would call them, obviously had an ulterior motive that seemed to favor them more than it favors us. I mean, I always tell people that generations take care of generations. You know, our interests can only be sought after by ourselves. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, the issue of age limit really will bring us back to the Constitution. At some point, we will have to relook at the Constitution. A proper survey has to be conducted on how maturity also, and at what point maturity kicks in. You know what I mean? Because we've seen leaders before in this country who are above 35, but they still behave like 6-year-olds, you know? We've seen that since time immemorial. So it's a bit of a challenging question, but I think that with commitment and the energy that some of us as young people have, and like I always say that there's strength in numbers. If we can gather more numbers and begin to talk about these things, somebody somewhere will listen. There's a good number of our fellow young people in parliament there who, as I have seen, are quite interested in matters youth. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's something that we can look at. You know, but as things stand, we are stuck at 18 and above because that's what the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, dictates.
Thank you so much for that. Comrade Daniel, popular sentiments that have come out time and again are that the youths do not care about their well-being, hence the reason why they do not want to participate in governance or participate in civic leadership. They want to be dragged for them to be leaders. How true are these sentiments?
Comrade Lance, I'll take you back. Let me borrow Angella's words. I'll take you back to time memorial, pre-independence. Who drove the anti-colonial agenda? The youths. We come to 1990 when we had elders singing Kumululesa Panchikauni, who drag a regime change? The youths. Fast forward, SATA, who drag that regime change? The youths. 2021, the famous recent one, who drag this regime change? The youths. Are we going to sit down and accept the analogy that youths are being dragged into matters when clearly youths are the people that are responsible for revolutions happening in this country? Where were the old people when there was a fight of a third term? Where were the old people? Youths unknowingly or knowingly started chanting, Bali will fix it, Bali will do this, Bali will pay. Today we have Bali in parliament, we have Bali in State House. Why? Because youths drove that agenda. The 2.8 million that we are proud about is 85% youths. Which dragging are you talking about? Because I see youths freely participating in these matters. I see youths freely desiring to change things. I see youths freely moving to make our lives and the lives of the nation better. I'll give you an example. And on this matter, on this topic, this is something that has to be clear. On this topic, on this particular topic, youth in governance, I take this matter personally. I take this matter to heart religiously, because I'm tired of youths being used as tools to get other people to power. You see, right now, as we are talking, every political party, every politician, right now, as we are talking, they are carving something in their constitution or in their manifesto that has to do with involving youths in governance. Okay? We have the same sentiments even from the former main opposition party or opposition leader. The same sentiments that youths are going to be engrafted in the governance of the country. What are we seeing? What is happening? Who are leading the technological distances that we are having as a nation? Who are leading the technological advances that we are having as a nation? Whatever lead to invention, whatever lead to discovery in terms of technology and science is being led by a youth, is being spearheaded by the youth, who has been given the power to make policies with regards to technology and science. A man who can't even manage his Facebook account. And you are here saying youths are want to be dragged in matters of governance. Are we really being fair to ourselves? So on this matter, comrade, youths have been used as tools to put other people in power, and it's a time that we should say enough is enough of this. We can't be represented by less than 5%, in parliament, yet we are more than 70% of the national population. We can't have youths by design. You look at our youth, they are 55 and you call them youths. No, there's an age restriction to being a youth. There is that age, range for a youth. You can't take someone out of that age range and call them a youth by design. No. So we should stand up for ourselves and say enough is enough. If they are saying we are being dragged, let's show them what we can do as youths with our voters card on the ballot. I submit.
Comrade Angellah, young people are good at stone throwing, rather. They are good at throwing stones. They are good at, punching the other who seems to be in opposite of their agenda. Therefore, this makes the youths not qualified for leadership positions, because if you put them there, all that they know to do is insult, drink, party, and do all sorts of whatever things or stuff. Is this true for a youth? Is this what happens if you give a youth or a young person, a young woman, that power to lead a certain grouping of people?
Well, that's a very nice question. But I guess by the end of this debate, you realize that I'm always speaking about the system, because the system is the one which is enrooted in us. And the system, whatever products that we see, those things which you're talking about, whether that's true or not, it's as a result of the system itself. So here's the system of capitalism, which is number one, it thrives in competition. Number two, thriving in individualism. And we've been seeing it. We are growing with it and we've adopted it. One, individualism, it's very true. And speaking as a woman who's seen so much, and I guess other women also would agree with me, where they've seen individualism is actually engulfing us such that we do not care about others just because, and I remember even previously I had made mention of this, to say just because it's that young woman, others wouldn't be there to support them. We've seen it even amongst the youths, whereby they wouldn't want to support each other. It's actually not them, but it's because of how the system is. It's competitive. It has made us to compete. So every time when we look at the other person, we feel, no, they're going to do much better than us. So it's better we drag them down so that we can get on top. And yet there isn't anything which is going to push you on top, because others, again, they're there to drag you down. That one, it has actually divided us really so much. The issue of individualism, where we would always want to do things in our little corners, we wouldn't want to seek solidarity from others because we feel, no, if they'll join in, they might take it up from me or they might take it away from me. We've seen it. Even voting today, you realize that mostly the youths, they are not, and the women, they are not actually voting with that clear conscience to say, okay, we are voting for this person because we love their manifesto, because we know that they're going to bring something on our table. This is where we keep on complaining. We are the ones who choose these people into these public offices, but why are we here to complain? It's because we always use our emotions, because that's what capital has taught us. We go there to say they're going to see, let's fix this person. Even if it's a youth who is stood on a certain ticket, would rather we pull them down because we want to see them failing. It's the system, it's not us. Then at the same time, because of the nature of the system, which has placed these other barriers, which we are recently from discussing, the issues of setting standards for women and youths, that's the system again, which has put that in place. You've seen that many youths are failing to take up these responsibilities, just like I had said. Because they've set a standard, and I'm already seeing it on social media, where they're able to even laugh at the Minister of Information just because she's a woman and she made a mistake while speaking English. Do you think I'm going to get motivated to do it? I won't. I'm not getting any motivation. I'm now scared that because my tongue cannot even pronounce the TH as somebody from Western, where we do not have this TH, it's always that. If I do that in Parliament, will these youths really leave me? Such things. We concentrate on such, but this is the product of capitalism. And again, just like I mentioned earlier, that the moment when we are going to embrace the spirit of Ubuntu, the better. Because during Ubuntu, we're able to tolerate each other when it comes to a learning process. Would know that, okay, this somebody, because we've seen the ability that they'll be able to do this, let's give them chance to learn. Let's be lenient on them since they're in the learning process, so they would make mistakes, and they used to be there to help out each other. And that's why they're able even to maintain power to date, the pre-colonials. Why? Because they're having each other's hand, and they've taught us to divide ourselves using the standards which they've set, using individualism, using competition. You've seen. So those are the things which are actually dragging us down. And it's high time we embrace Ubuntu. Trust me, my comrades. Zambia is going to be a better place, not just Zambia, but the whole world is going to be a better place. It's so disheartening when we find that the whole world, we only have about 2% of youth representation. Nina. And yet, like, we are over 60% of the whole population. It's so shameful. And we tend to ask ourselves, where are we going wrong? And here we are busy giving each other of examples of these people who are now old today, instead of us learning from what they did previously when they were youths in order for them to be where they are. We are busy castigating each other. No, you don't have what? Did they have those things when they were getting into power, these people? The previous conversation that we had, I listened to it, and I would hear Comrade Isaac and Daniel busy discussing around the issue of having resources and so on. That's actually capitalism. It will teach you to waste much of your time trying to find resources, so that after you have them, that's when you believe that you can be a leader. Or because you inherited these kind of resources in whatsoever ways, then you feel that's leadership. But it's not. So all these, it's all about the system, and the moment we're going to change the system, the better, because you've seen how these systems have been changing from time immemorial. When I discussed about them, like previously, showing even how women have been influential from the word go, but yet still not recognized. And hence, me as a woman here, I'm not getting any inspiration, because every day I'm just reading about men who've done this, guys who've done this. Women, they are not spoken about as if they do not exist, but yet in their little corners, they are doing so much which is not recognized. Personally, I've been in so many platforms. They'll be there to cheer at me, but tomorrow when they'll tell a friend, they'll say somebody who actually congratulated me just because he's a male, to say, that one spoke so well. Do you hear how he was congratulating Angellah? But they won't say what Angellah said, which was good enough, actually. You've seen. So we've seen all that, but it's all about the system. The system which is scared of women, the system which is scared of youth, knowing that the moment when they get into power, they are going to change everything. But even though now that we are learning and we want to get rid of such kind of a system, it can only take a revolution. It can only take a revolution. Whatever's been happening in the government, which Comrade Daniel has been speaking about, that was a revolution. The moment you feel that, okay, no, I think I'm seated on a needle and I'm not comfortable, I have to do something about it, the better. And that's the time when change is going to come. We'll keep on sitting here discussing all night and so on. But the moment we feel we are not ready, nothing is going to happen. All revolutions happened, and they were actually headed by the youth, because they felt enough is enough. Enough of having these elderly people, enough of having these pre-colonial people leading us throughout our lives. Now we want a new breed. It's up to us. Let's embrace Ubuntu. Let the liberation, and revolution can only start if we're informed. The moment when you are informed, and then you realize that no, yeah, this is so true. We need to change things here. Then the better. So
yes, please, Daniel, you can come through.
Okay, I'll borrow late Michael Chidufyasada's words. May his soul rest in peace. During a public rally, he said, the most cowards we have in this nation are the educated. And he was right. I remember sharing this thought with one of my learned colleagues. I showed them how bad things are. I showed them why we need to have a youthful leadership, why we need to have youths at the table of decision making. You know, when it comes to politics, our politicians are so clever enough to know the power that a youth possesses. They are so clever enough, so cunning enough to know how to channel that power to benefit them. So they will tell us to say, no, when we form government, we are going to look into the affairs of the youth. Okay, we are going to make sure that youths are well taken care of. Comrade Nsoneka said, generations take care of generations. There is no way that an older person can have a youth at heart. So they'll tell us that to lure us in. And our level of interaction with them is based on the education they feed us. They train us in such a way that it conforms us to believing that we need to be handing them power to lead us. Okay? They'll quote these philosophers. They'll quote in a Weber and all those guys, just so that you come to a position where you conform to what they want you to be. At the end of the day, you shout, you chant, you shout slogans, sing songs, all in the name of getting an older man to lead you. And how do you expect an older person to be with a youth at heart? Let me give you a very painful example. Okay? After all the sings, after all the songs, after all the words about how he is going to ensure that youths are engrafted in governance, Pamalawi Apa, from where I'm standing right now, if the wind was to just blow from this direction, my network, believe you me, will change into a Malawian network. Right now, from where I'm seated, my SIM card, my Zambian SIM cards will start roaming. That's how close Malawi is to Zambia. Guess who was taken there as an envoy for the government of Zambia? They brought a man who had retired, and in fact retired from his retirement. That's the man they carried and said, you go be an envoy, be the representation of Zambia in Malawi.
Taking him by P.
Yes. Go and be a representation of Zambia in Malawi. Just a mere ambassador, echoing the voice of the president. How simple can that, how difficult can that be? You just echo what the president says. If there is something, the president will write something to you, you read it through and then echo it. Do you need to go and resurrect someone to do that particular job? And you had the youths for your backing. You had youths that were fighting your battles. You had youths that were pushing your agenda. Whilst the old were cowarding out, youths were being stoned, youths were being beaten, just so that a revolution can take place, just so that a regime change can happen. Look who's given powers now. Look who's empowered to lead the youths. People that don't have the youths at heart. How do you sit in parliament and decide to say retirement age should be moved to 65? Our life expectancy is 64.4. Why should you take, why should you take the retirement age to 60? What should a 65-year-old teacher be doing in class? So we have been seen as tools of stones and fights and all those things, because that is what we are presenting. A time should come when we say enough is enough. If you want to go and fight a certain camp, go on your own. Let youth stand and start saying, we want to claim the governance of this nation. We want to claim the leading of, we want to sit at the table where decisions are made on our behalf. We want to be responsible for the decisions made. Why? Because we are the people that are going to carry the consequences of those decisions. You get a 75-year-old man to go and negotiate a deal. He negotiates a deal and tells you to say this will be effect 10 years from today. That man won't even be there to see the effect of what he has negotiated.
Okay, Daniel, I'll cut you short. I'll invite Nsoneka to also come through, considering that we had lost him due to network connectivity. Nsoneka, do come through and add your voice to what has been on the plate.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade. And I sympathize with Comrade Daniel Zulu. You can tell his passion and bitterness towards the subject. Not bitter in a wrong way, but the correct type of kind of bitterness that we need to be able to take this country forward. Yeah, so I think that I appreciate all the arguments by my two colleagues, which I think have been summed up into a lot of things. But just to agree, because I don't think there's anything to take away from what the two have put forward. Just to agree with what most of the things that they've spoken about. Like I had said earlier, and I keep saying this, that look, the problems of young people can only be sorted out by young people. And young people themselves have the power to sort out their own problems. And how do we sort out their own problems? By empowering ourselves with the right knowledge, with the correct knowledge, with the correct wisdom of and awareness of the environment around us and what this country needs. Comrade Zulu was talking about issues of ambassadors and them. There are so many positions in government that have gone to the older generation, which simply goes to confirm what I've been saying, that generations take care of generations. So nowadays, I'm not even surprised when I hear President Hakainde Hichilema making up an appointment and he goes to resurrect some grandfather in Mwinirunga and turn him into a district commissioner. The Bali can't even read properly, you can't blame him. You have to sympathize with him because those are the people he knows. Those are the images and voices he recognizes, so we need to be able to begin to advance our own cause as young people, because you see this issue of sitting and always saying, no, they should accept us. Who should accept us? I think that we should get to a time where we begin to advance our agenda, and we start advancing our agenda by getting involved into elections, by getting involved in elections. Because trust me, we can beat about the bush all we want and say the only way, politics is not the only way you can save a country. Tell me any other way that you can save a country that has no political connotation. I can be quiet and wait for anyone to challenge me. Because even bankers today, even those who hate Zanaco Bank, if you ask how they got there, it's political connections, because they are married to the son of a grandchild of a freedom fighter, And then we also have this issue of dynasties here also that I've seen in Kenya. Our friends, William Ruto and them have peacefully broken down and proven that you don't have to, your father didn't need to be, a televised freedom fighter for you to be able to take part in the leadership of the country. It happens even here. That's why those old men that my good comrade was giving an example of, it's not because they are wise or they are more knowledgeable than myself and all the colleagues on this platform. It's because of who their fathers were. It's because of who their fathers were. Those of us who are unlucky, whose fathers were whose grandfathers were busy, looking for firewood to feed the freedom fighters, no one will talk about us, But at the end of the day, I think that we need to begin to advance the cause of young people by getting involved into active politics. It is the only way, because that's the only route that is got authority, Those who run the country have authority.
Allow me to cut you short and pose very short questions that each one of you would need to address. Having, heard what you have deliberated, the question that arises is whether a leader, or leaders are born, or leaders can become? What's your take? Let's start with you, our lady Angellah. You're on mute.
Well, I was
Ah,
still laughing because I didn't know I was going to be the first one to respond to this.
in every aspect, ladies do come first.
Oh, okay. Well, I really didn't see this coming and not so prepared to respond to it, but let me try my best. But
Maybe we may give you a second as you are
no, no,
contemplating.
no,
We
no,
can
no. Let me go on
okay,
to
okay.
speak my mind. Yeah. So with me, I take it as a two-way thing because I've seen people born leaders and I've seen people being made leaders. So usually you would see somebody's skills like even before you put them into that um, position. We've seen people, young leaders, being able to influence so many other people towards some certain achievement of some objectives and goals, even before you ordain them to be, okay, you are the leader of this group. That's still leadership. But yet, again, we've seen people just because of what they have or because of the name which they bear, they will be ordained to be some leader somewhere. But in most cases, um, most leaders who've been very effective, they've been born leaders, I would say, from my experience. The born leaders have really done so much. Most people that I know, they've really done so much than those who were pushed to being leaders because like you are just it's more like you are trying to nurture something which is already ordered. It already has its ways, but you're forcing it to behave in a certain way, so they can only be within a shortest period of time and get back to their ways. So I would say it's a two-way thing.
Thank you so much, Angellah. We do appreciate. Quickly, Daniel.
Uh, I'll say on the contrary,
Mhm.
leadership is every one of us is born a leader. Every one of us is born a leader. If you remember my simple definition of what leadership is simply about problem solving. Every one of us is born a problem solver. Without looking at the gravity of that problem, we are all born. Are we all born politicians? No. We can be made politicians. So the idea of leadership, the idea of having a problem to solve, the idea of providing a solution, every one of us is born with that. Okay, you're a child. They will nurture that out of you, show you how to become responsible. They'll teach you how to sweep, teach you how to wash dishes, teach you how to wash your clothes. Why? They are trying to nurture the leader in you. Take responsibility, solve problems. It's already inbuilt in all of us. It's already there in all of us, but it has to be nurtured. That's where the making comes in. The level at which you attain, the level at which you fly in terms of your leadership depends on the level of nurturing. Yet you're still born a leader. We've seen people born leaders but never even made it to leadership because of the process of nurturing. So all of us are born leaders and we have been nurtured into taking up those leadership roles and those leadership positions. It's already inbuilt in us. It's already there. It just has to be nurtured. So it is nurtured in a certain direction. If you say, I want to be a political leader, there is nurturing for that. Okay, if it's a religious leader, there is nurturing for that. Christians have called it a calling. You have a calling. Everyone has that. It has to be nurtured into fruition. That's my submission.
Thank you so much. And you've talked about everyone being called, but is it everyone who is chosen? I can see Angellah, shaking and nodding. I'll come back to you so that you tell us the shaking and nodding, what it implies there. Quickly, let's go to Nsoneka first of all, before we come back to Angellah.
Thank you, comrade. I think that in simpler terms, I've also always believed that by nature, every one of us is born a leader. And then as we grow, we decide what type of leadership we are to become. We then begin to adopt certain behaviors that lean towards a certain type or particular kind of leadership. There are politicians who are born. It's one thing to be a politician, and this is one mistake that a lot of us make, because we think each and every politician is a leader. Some of them just know how to talk and expound parables in their local languages, and tell a lot of lies that sound like truths, and yet they have no leadership quality. They go on to oppress people, they go on to
Looks like we have lost him.
deceive and milk the people, you see. So at the end of the day, by nature, we're all born leaders, but we later on come to choose which type of leaders that we want to become,
All right, thank you so much, Nsoneka there. Angellah, back to you. You did a lot of nodding and shaking of your head. Please communicate.
Oh
to
yeah,
us.
I was agreeing with some of the sentiments, and some I wasn't really agreeing, and some I was seeing that they are actually they are agreeing to disagree. Well, because just the first statements where Comrade Daniel defines leadership as problem solving. Just that you are able to see that it's not each and every person who is born who is able to solve a problem. Me growing up, I didn't even know that I was a leader. But yet they could tell me every time, they used to tell me to say, you are a leader, because every time I was being called, my fellow peers would call me to solve their problems. You've seen, I was able to solve other people's problem and my own problem.
not
So
relationship problems.
Why are they failing if they are leaders? Why are they
Did
failing?
you hear that, Angellah? Did you hear what Nsoneka said?
No.
Nsoneka, repeat yourself.
I said not. I hope you were not called to solve relationship problems.
Even that. Well, yeah. So from my childhood, I've been taking up responsibilities even for other people. Like other people in the family, they would want me to sort out their problems, of which I'm not even at that stage, and I would manage. So I would hear people, even neighbors, even saying that, okay, no, this child is a leader, this child. And until now that I'm grown, that I realized that, okay, yeah, this is leadership now. I'm able to see that, okay, no, this is leadership. So I would say that it's not actually everyone who is born a leader. Some, they are born to actually make other people's leadership become a reality. We cannot all be leaders, trust me, we cannot. It's not everyone who has who's been called to be a leader, if at all it's a calling. So some people are born, some people, with me, I would say some people are really born leaders. And that's why even the process of nurturing them as they grow to that line of their interest, it becomes more even easier. Unlike others who are actually made, they never even dreamt of becoming a leader, but just because I'm the son to Mr. Muyangana and he was so known in this community, then can you be a councillor?
Comrade Angellah,
Yes.
let me disturb you a bit.
Disturb me.
I wanted to behave today. I wanted to not cut people. So, your definition of leadership should be separated from being a politician. Okay. Is a mother a leader?
She is definitely a leader.
Is a father a leader?
They are leaders.
Are there people that are born not to be fathers?
Oh, well, and depending, because there are some parents who are actually not even leaders. Their children, their children will be their leaders. Yeah, it's not every parent actually who is a leader. We've seen parents, they are there, but it's actually a child to do each and everything, to think even on behalf of their parents.
I agree with you there. I think we've all seen homes where children end up being leaders. But I think that at the end of the day, it's more or less a technical issue. I think we're going to go back and forth on the technical definition of leadership. You know what I mean? Yeah, and before my sister goes all socialist on us, Comrade Zulu, you might want to to just refrain yourself. Otherwise, she's going to tell you how Thomas Sankara dealt with a similar situation.
Lady and gentlemen, I think the last question, I'll again give each one of you a minute, even though you are adding some more to the minutes that I've been giving you. I'll again give you a minute, each one of you. In order for youth participation and also women participation in leadership or politics, calls for an enabling environment from the government. Does the government the current government, does it promote or does it provide that enabling environment for youth participation and also women participation in leadership? Let me start with, this time around, I'll spare you the lady. I'll start with Nsoneka.
Thank you, comrade, and I would have loved that you had given us more time on this question. I would have loved it to be one of the first ones, because we must all have a lot to say. But I think that in a nutshell, if you ask for a yes and no answer, I'll tell you a definite no. And I have a number of reasons that I can attribute my no to. And just to put some of a few across, is that I have not seen enough commitment from the current government with regards to promotion of youth participation in governance. This is a political party that going into the 2021 election retained most of its oldest members of parliament. When you go to parliament today and find out who are the oldest serving, we have people who have served in parliament for 25 years. This is now 26th years. As at 2026, they will be clocking 30 years in parliament. And I can assure you, I can say with almost absolute certainty that they are interested in running again in 2026. So I think that the commitment has not really been there. It's been much more of a rhetoric than it is an actual action, towards implementation. They always sing and say good things about us young people, as you would expect of a government. They are all good at saying nice things about young people, especially on Youth Day. But when it comes to actualizing those things with giving opportunities to young people, opportunities that are supposed to go to young people still go to the oldest. Even when you look at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, for instance, with much respect to my elder brother, Honorable Elvis Nkandu, but I honestly don't think he's the youngest member of parliament that UPND has. I don't think he's the youngest member of parliament that UPND has. And I don't think he's the youngest member of the United Party for National Development. The president could have even nominated a minister of youth and sports. You know, if that I think all in all, we remain waiting to see more actionable commitment, you know, towards the welfare of the young people by President Hakainde Hichilema and his government. We can even speak a lot more about this after 2026, because then we will know what their actual or true colors are. You know, we will know. We can cut them some slack for 2021. Perhaps they were trying to consolidate themselves. But I think all those old people who have been in parliament for 25 years, they've now tested government. They are going, some of them will be ministers for 5 years. I think 5 years is a long time enough to want
Nsoneka,
to leave chance to young people.
I'll cut you short. I agree with you that indeed we have a lot to say. And I see a reason, you know, we need to have, you know, the same topic to be addressed even some other time. It will be decided by, you know, the producer of the program. But let me quickly switch to you, Daniel.
Okay, I'll agree with Comrade Nsoneka. It's a definite no from me. And all indications are pointing towards that. You know, the nature of our politics in Zambia use you and shut you up. Use you and shut you up. So when it comes to rallying up support, drumming up support for the presidency, which for the regime, you find that youths will be called to the table. Come, we face together. This is our agenda. They will make us believe that this is ours. And who takes so much interest in the issue, who takes so much interest in the agenda, that will start running with it. Okay? When all is said and done now, things are ready. Let's party. We've ushered a new government in state. Let's now get to cut this cake and share it. They'll start calling for people who went there when these things were happening. Probably you might say they were in the background, but no elections are won in the background. Elections are won in the battlefield, on the ground. So youths have been used as a tool to get these people into power. This current administration has proven their lack of commitment to youths. Let me tell you this, there's a difference between being given a job, being recruited, being hired by the government, and being given a responsibility to channel and alter some of these policies. What power do you have if you are employed and your salary is not, you don't even have the power to determine how much you get? So they'll shut youths up, give you tankers, fuel tankers. They'll give you jobs, recruit you. Jobs are okay, jobs are fine. They'll use that tool to shut you up because they don't want you to realize that you can actually do more than just work for the government. So commitment from my side, no. And in ending, I'll call on each and every youth listening to this program today. It's high time we show them what we can do. It's high time.
Thank you so much. You are still burning with an issue, but this is your platform. You definitely come back to finish this issue, you know, right here. Angellah.
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess I'll be the only person who is going to speak in seconds because they've said almost everything. And I agree with everything that they've said because it's everywhere. Like we're seeing it in all the parts of Zambia that really they do not have the heart for the youth or women at heart. We could have actually seen this from the word go during their adoptions, you know, processes. We could have seen that if they had us and the women at heart. And you know, because they know that giving us that opportunities is very key, we're going to change certain policies in order for those policies to fit us and policies that will actually even give more platforms to more of us as youths and women. No wonder they are doing all this. They are pushing us with these issues of employment, just like Comrade Daniel said, so that we can shut up and we should feel kind of comfortable and not look forward to those better positions which are going to bring greater change. So it's more like just making us calm down, yet they know that they do not have us at heart, and they've actually fixed us in a certain corner. So that's it. It's a very big no for me. And well, we are watching. Our eyes are so open. Our ears are open as well. And we'll be delighted if we're going to see a good number of representation when it comes to lawmakers, because that's very key. And that's what we want as
How old is the National Youth Chairperson?
Pardon?
Daniel, you saying something?
How old is their National Youth Chairperson?
He's young. You can't. We can't say his age, but he looks young.
He's as young as he feels.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Yes, Comrade Chaza, you're right. Yes, even the youth minister, yeah, they're as young as they feel. That's it. We've been saying it. Even just when we actually get down to other their offices, the youth offices, like the Ministry of Youth here, if you're to come. Guys, you get shocked. The representation that we have here in Western Province, people who are from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, or whatever it is, the way they've changed it, you'll be surprised. There are people who cannot even stand for 10 minutes. They would want to sit because they're tired, and they're representing us as youths. And
Okay,
it's because
Angellah,
of that.
I will also.
I want to air a displeasure.
Okay, please do. You said you were
Yes.
talking in seconds, the only one, but your seconds are
Yes,
longer than minutes.
So, like, because we're having Western Province Expo just previously, so there was this activity for the youths where we were supposed to have a symposium, and the minister came. We never even saw the minister. He chose to go to where the expo was and not to come and attend to us, because initially, even when the invites were sent, they were going to say the minister will be there. So whatever discussion we're going to have, the minister will be there to respond to us. He never came. Then he sent representatives who actually looked even older than him again. So you've seen, one, they don't even take us serious. He chose something else and not actually people who are in line with his work. He chose something else because they don't care about us. So you've seen these people, they don't have us at heart. They don't.
Even just on News Day, I've never seen any president in this country going to the Freedom Statue to lay wreaths. They always send representatives.
Which means that we are not important. You've seen. Why did you have to come here?
Okay, Angellah, I now cut you short also. What can I say, panelists? You are sharp minds, brilliant minds, and we do really appreciate, your coming here to Ubuntu channel on a debate time. And believe you me, we look forward to even hosting you, not only on this topic, but on, even an assortment of, all other topics right here. Believe you me, your seats are actually guaranteed right here. Thank you so much for always, obliging to our invitation. Before we actually move, away from the program, I have seen, a couple of messages coming from Mr. Mukelebai. Mr. Mukelebai, thank you so much. It's good to know you are with us. Not forgetting the viewers out there. We've seen a couple of messages that are
Comrade Chaza, are you there with us?
I thought it was my bundles.
Comrade Daniel, you are behaving like this afternoon when WhatsApp crashed. We all thought our monthly bundles collapsed until we bought 4 times. I'm seeking for refund from Airtel.
I actually thought the government had switched off WhatsApp.
Anyway, that was on a lighter note. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that you were part of this panel. And as Chaza has said, we look forward to having you again. This time around on a special program, that's specifically one topic so that we can exhaust everything that we have as youths. And a great shout out goes out to all the viewers that have program via Facebook as well as YouTube and Twitter. Also for those that have shared, liked, as well as shown an expression. To everybody that commented, as well as Mr. Mkleva who joined us in the studio but did not appear on camera. Thank you so much for your commitment. Not forgetting our able technical team. We really salute you and thank you so much. I was almost tempted to give our panelists, at least a minute each, but looking at what a minute 10 will do, I would rather close the program and come back the other time. Hopefully, we have exhausted the debate which indicated the importance of in governance by young women and the youth. Thank you so much to everybody. Have a good night and looking forward to having you again tomorrow as we bring to you Meet Your Leaders. Good evening and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.